just give me a brief overview of your experience with dogs.
Well, I'm Annie Phenix, and I have worked with dogs, lived with dogs my whole life. I became a professional trainer in 25 plus years ago. After a while, you don't count the years. I come out of rescue. I have fostered 400 dogs over 10 years in Texas in their worst state of being in very hectic shelters, and they taught me canine language, body language. I'm the author of two best-selling canine behavior books, in, including working with positive training for aggressive and reactive dogs. And I specialize in aggressive dogs and reactive dogs and dogs who have a bite history. And I have done that for 25 years. I have never, thankfully, been bitten. Not to say it doesn't happen, but I feel like that's because of my in-depth understanding of what the dog is communicating and not pushing the dog. I'm the founder of the Canine Trauma Clinic, and I am trauma-informed practitioner, and I know and I teach what causes trauma in dogs and how to heal dogs. And dogs definitely experience trauma in many of the same ways that humans do.
What do you hear as the sales pitch typically when people are trying to sell somebody on a shock collar or a prong collar? What is the sales pitch?
It's very organized and they use a lot of the same language, and it's very destructive. And personally, I think it could be these companies that make them and sell them could be sued for false advertising because they say things like, it doesn't hurt, it's only a tap. They actually say e-collar, and they want to say e-collars and not shock collars. That's important. They want to reframe the language of it in selling this tool and making a lot of money doing it. They say that it's just a tap. E-collars do not cause pain, when all of the science says they cause pain, they cause stress in dogs. They're not a guarantee of freedom. They say that a lot. My dog deserves freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom where? To be hit by a car? Because I know trainers who have their dogs have been killed on a shock collar because they believed it was 100% guaranteed. Trainers have lost their dogs because they're zapping the dog as it runs into traffic. A leash, unless you drop the leash, is a guarantee that that dog will live its life, without pain and fear and safety.
Do these pain trainers who recommend shock collars and prong collars, do they ever warn of any of the behavioral fallouts associated with these tools?
I have studied this in depth. I'm also uniquely trained in a shock collar. I am a graduate of a Schutzen school it was a very painful experience for me, but it was the only thing in my area in Texas at the time, many, many years ago. So I am trained on it. And that's one of the things they say too, is that we don't know what we're doing. Well, I'm probably more trained than most of the people using it. And I never used it again because I saw the pain and the frustration. I have never seen a website, somebody selling shock collars, say that this causes fallout down the road. I have worked with countless dogs who come to me or other force-free trainers. We're the third, fourth, fifth trainer, and the owner is in tears saying, my dog is not my dog anymore. The spirit is gone. He's afraid to take a step. Electric fences were just as dangerous. Dogs, when owners call me and say, my dog suddenly won't pee in the yard and he doesn't want to go outside. And my first question is, did you install electric fence? And the answer is almost always yes. And those aren't legitimate fences, and an e-collar is not a legitimate safety device to keep your dog alive. And the fallout is the dog no longer trusts humans and doesn't even trust his environment. I saw a beautiful hunting dog. I see this all the time. I'm in Utah. They love their shock collars. Beautiful hunting dog walking in front of me on a beautiful sunny day, and the dog took a step here and looked back and took a step there and looked back. And if you didn't know what you were looking at, you thought, wow, that's a remarkable dog and relationship. He's so close to the owner. That dog is terrified. The body is hunched up and shut down because the owner has decided, you can go so far in front of me, and if you go one step further, I will shock you. Whereas a leash, the dog knows, okay, I can figure out it's X amount of feet ahead, and I feel a little bit of, or you train them to not pull on the leash without hurting them. The shock collar is like, it's same with an e-collar. I mean, an electric fence. I step out of line one step that a human has decided, and I get enormous pain. And you can tell, once you know canine body language, you can tell the stress and anxiety in the dogs. And so these trainers either are not trained to see canine behavior stress signals, or they are and they willfully ignore them.
My guess is they're not trained in it and they don't care. They're just in it for the money. And my suspicion is, I can't, prove this, but my suspicion is a lot of these pain trainers, I wonder if they even like dogs. I wonder, because how could you say you love dogs and do this to them? Like, it doesn't compute. In your experience, what have you seen as the fallouts from dogs who have been subjected to shock collars and prong collars?
The one I mentioned from electric fences, dogs not wanting to go outside because they associate this, they're dogs. They associate the shock with something outside, often the grass, could be a person walking by. Their anxiety and they become hypervigilant. When is the shock coming? Particularly because even if you are well trained on it, I don't use them and do not advise them because of the pain and the stress that they cause animals. We know that from studies. But so many people, well-meaning owners, can go and buy this collar anywhere, online, in stores, and immediately start using it without any training whatsoever. And so dogs, their whole world is turned upside down. I trusted you. That love bond we know is there, and you're strapping this thing on. If you have never strapped on a shock collar to a dog's neck, those things stick out, and you want it tight. And so the dog knows when you're putting that collar on, and he knows when it's off. A really well-balanced dog that has high training is trained without a collar, and it's the relationship the dog is choosing to heal with you, to be with you, to recall with you. We remove the freedom to choose. You come back to me or you will receive a shock. And they can become depressed. They can not, it strips them of their joy. Like, we get dogs, those of us who love them, we love dogs and we want them to be happy. Put a shock collar on and you strip that dog. They become robotic, many of them. They are scared to take a wrong step because most of them don't know when it's coming. They can't figure out you're the one doing it. They're that smart. And so what if we're supposed to be parents and guardians and raise a dog up to be a healthy, resilient, happy dog in their short life with us, what is going through a dog's mind when you come and bring that collar over? And there, lots of trainers will say, look, here's my shock collar, here's my prong collar, my dog's so happy. No, the dog is conflicted because he might get to go outside and do something with you, but he knows, and his body keeps the score and the stress of that shock to your neck, and it does hurt. It hurts. And it can go up so high. When I was in the Schutzen school as a student, I had to use it on my rescue dog. I refused to use it on my own. It's the first and last time I ever used it, but I studied it. The trainers were at one end of the school, the students were at the other in a big building. Weekly, German Shepherds, Akitas, huge, big, powerful, strong dogs would run through the collar because they wanted to attack our dogs. And they did, and they hurt some dogs. I'll never forget trainers running behind it, turning that shock up. And the dog screaming and trying to get the collar off, and still came towards our dogs and hurt our dogs. And that's when I said, this does not work. It is not reliable. And we get the fallout of the dogs coming to us with their spirits broken, not trusting humans, not trusting their world. And if you wouldn't put it on a toddler, why in the world is it legal to put it on a sentient being? It makes no sense to me. And it is illegal in many countries. I feel strongly about it too.
Yeah, and that's really what it takes, right? It takes not just people who are upset about it, but people who really feel the need to come out and tell people, whether you're a dog guardian, you're a professional, it doesn't matter. All of us know these are bad tools and they need to be eradicated. How much more work is it for a dog trainer to go into a session and help a family that has a dog who's been harmed by shock collars and prong collars?
Yeah, that's a great question. I know this question and the answer really well because I am trauma informed. I deal with trauma recovery in dogs, acknowledging that they express trauma. We know that they do through studies. It is so much longer to regain a dog's trust that natural bond is there, and we, the human, has destroyed it. We say that trauma lives in the body. The body keeps the score. So you have to have an understanding of the amygdala and the nervous system, and way more than most owners or trainers bother to learn, to be able to be, as my friend Dr. Laura Donaldson says, create deep safety for dogs. Dogs that have a wonderful, safe, happy upbringing and puppyhood from before with the breeder, they need deep safety. They need our guidance. The amygdala is saying, is the world safe? Am I safe? Are you safe? And then we put this, and they put it on puppies, they put it on tiny dogs. It's their tool of choice most often. They'll say it's the last resort of these trainers, but it's not. They show puppies on their websites. Anyone can go see it because they're proud of it. That dog is learning the world is a very scary place, and the person who's putting that onto his neck is the one doing the damage to the dog. That is a absolutely horrific way to live for 12 years. I mean, I would shut down too. So then you bring it to someone like me or you, and we have to say, we will not hurt you, and we have to get that stress out of the body. And the only way to do it is through somatic body work and creating that sense of deep safety. It's not training. You don't train a dog out of a traumatic situation. That requires specific training. It requires more than love. Love alone will not fix a dog like that. It won't fix any of us who have trauma in our lives. Trauma is how we respond to the situation. So yeah, you might have a really strong German Shepherd, and my favorite breed, poor German Shepherds and Malinois and now Cane Corsos are in favor. Sure, it's a big, strong dog. They still have feelings. They still feel fear. They still have an amygdala. They still have a nervous system. They still can be harmed by that collar. It doesn't matter how big they are. And just because your big, strong dog looks like he's handling it, it doesn't mean that he's not experiencing pain or distrust from you. And because he doesn't know, how far can I go? Can I run over here? I really want to smell that. But because I'm a dog and sniffing is so crucial to my life, but my God, this might go. And the stronger they are, the higher they're going to turn it up. It boggles the mind that these things are legal. They should never have been legal. It comes from military and sport dog training. That's not a family pet. You in bites and maulings are through the roof. They have gone way up. And why is that? We know that adversive training is a very real reason why. Clicker dogs and cookie pusher dogs don't generally maul people. It could take years. It could take months. It's not a week. You're not going to fix it in a week. Sometimes we can't help them. They're so far shattered. They're mentally shattered and emotionally shattered. Dogs have emotions that we can't help them. It's hard to bring somebody back from torture. Some people survive it in real life, in humans, and some dogs survive it. Some dogs will never be the same. Through the power of force retraining and being trauma-informed, I've worked with dogs that are 8 or 9 years old and get a new, more educated owner, or the owner wakes up to see the harm they're doing. And we can bring these dogs around, many of them, but it takes time, way more time than a dog that never had his trust harmed.
What would you like the legislature in New Jersey to know about passing this bill to ban shock collars and prong collars in pet dog training?
I would like the legislature to know that dogs don't have lobbyists. Politicians know lobbyists. They know lawyers. They know people who have representation and people who don't. Dogs have no representation other than people like you putting something together like this, people who are willing to speak out and take the abuse that we get. So these legislators are in a unique positions to step up for an animal that has no lobbyists, no lawyers, and do the right thing, do the moral thing, and do the ethical thing, and that is to ban them.
Would this legislation make our communities safer?
Definitely so, because these dogs are living hyper-vigilant lives. And the wrong kid running in, or the wrong time in a dog's life, a kid running in front of them, the dog is ready to snap. And like I said, in the school I went to, the dogs ran through the shock collar. So you have a hyper-vigilant, nervous, anxious, non-joyful, non-resilient, very fragile, emotional dog, even the big, strong ones. And a child in the wrong, and children get bitten. Historically, it was always children. Now it's more of us adults because of the harsh training and bad breeding. But harsh training, we know, causes dangerous dogs. We know that through scientific study. It's not just my opinion or your opinion. The science says using aversive equipment causes dogs to be nervous, anxious, and it's not as reliable as kind guidance. I see myself as a guidance person. I'm raising a dog versus controlling a dog. That's your ethos. Where do you begin when you look at a dog? Do you want an absolute hierarchical, do what I say because I'm the big man or the big woman? Or do you want a loving companion? Most people want a loving, safe companion.
Um, is there anything that you'd like to add? Any personal stories or anything that you didn't cover that you would like to include?
I think one, it's heartbreaking. Our line of work is very heartbreaking because that didn't have to happen. That trauma did not have to be inflicted upon that dog, but somebody made a lot of money by doing it and by making false promises of a quick fix and a guarantee. And shock collar companies are multi-million dollar companies. They have lobbyists. The dogs do not have lobbyists. And I also want to say, once you understand canine body communication, a low level of stress, a whale eye, a turning away, lifting of the paw, licking of the nose, low level, and then it goes all the way up to a bite. It's that low level that owners don't see, that trainers either ignore it or never were trained on it, that allows them to put that collar on thinking, I'm not harming the dog, if they think that. So those who are telling themselves a lie about that. And if we did a better job as an industry, and if owners learned canine communication, once you see it, you can't unsee it unless you're frankly a sociopath and you choose not to. And if dog owners could see the pain at a low level before it gets to a bite, before the dog is in danger of being put down, dogs that bite are going to be, you can't rehome that. We have to fix it within that original family or it's not going to live, period. And shock collar trainers love to say, oh, we're the last resort. We're going to have to use a shock collar or the dog is going to be killed. It's the exact opposite of what a dog who wants to bite needs. They need deep safety. They need quiet. They need to let their nervous systems relax. It's like shock collar trainers are in denial of modern science and how the body works. We evolved with dogs. We co-evolved. Their trauma responses are very similar to us. It's like they have fear. They have an amygdala. They have a will to live and do the things they like to do, like sniffing and running freely in a safe space and not with that fear that for being a dog, you're going to be harmed, terribly harmed around your neck. It's torture, in my opinion. It's absolute torture and it's sick.